He was publicly humiliated. His brilliant idea, stolen by his arrogant manager right in front of the entire board. He was just a junior. A nobody. Or was he? What if the nobody you step on is the one who secretly owns the entire building? This is a story that will make you question everything you see at the office. Have you ever felt invisible? Ever watched someone else take credit for your hard work and felt utterly powerless? This is the definition of drama. We see one man, Leonard Fuller, treated like dirt, like he's nothing. But this isn't just about an arrogant manager on a power trip. This is about Leonard, the junior with a secret identity, a rich man in disguise. It's about Ellie Hamilton, the only colleague who showed him true kindness. You are about to watch a journey of brutal drama, silent revenge, and a plot twist so shocking it will leave you breathless. We promise a life-changing story where justice is finally served. But before the triumph, comes the pain. This manager won't just steal the idea. He will try to destroy Leonard's career. He'll try to end Ellie's, too. He's about to push them both out the door, humiliated. Not knowing he's just signed his own death warrant. This budding office romance becomes a fight for survival, and a true love story is forged in the fire. Get ready. If you believe kindness is a superpower and that revenge is a dish best served cold, you are in the right place. Comment justice below if you are ready for this manager's downfall. Like this video as a sign of respect for Ellie's courage, and share this with anyone who needs to see a bully finally get what's coming to them. And subscribe. Because the redemption is just getting started. It's a tale as old as time in the concrete jungle, isn't it? The bright-eyed new junior, brimming with ideas, versus the grizzled veteran who's seen it all. But this wasn't just any veteran, this was Marcus Vance, a notoriously arrogant manager known for his ruthless ambition. And the new junior was Leonard Fuller, a quiet, unassuming guy who just wanted to do good work. Had spent weeks on an innovative pitch, pouring his soul into every slide. This was his moment to finally prove his worth, perhaps to even catch the eye of Ellie Hamilton. He just didn't know the wolves were already circling, ready for the feast. The boardroom was packed. The air crackled with that tense, big meeting energy that everyone dreads. Leonard Fuller, feeling smaller than ever in his ill-fitting suit, watched his arrogant manager take the stage. Marcus flashed a predatory smile, his expensive cufflinks gleaming under the harsh fluorescent lights. And then, it happened. Slide 1. It was Leonard's work. Slide 2. His data. That sinking, ice-cold feeling in your stomach. Leonard was drowning in it. The manager stole his idea, presenting it with a theatrical flair that simply wasn't his. It was a shocking, brazen act of intellectual theft, happening in real time. You know that nightmare where you're screaming, but absolutely no sound comes out? That was Leonard, frozen stiff in his chair, his face burning a bright, painful crimson. He felt utterly humiliated, his mind just racing. He didn't. He did. The board members were eating it up, nodding along, praising the manager's vision. His vision. The sheer, unadulterated audacity of it was breathtaking, a true masterclass in corporate betrayal. This was more than just a stole idea, it was the public theft of his future. And the arrogant manager? Oh, he was just getting warmed up, folks. As if the theft wasn't enough, the manager decided, what the hell, let's add insult to injury. He actually paused mid-presentation, a smug, self-satisfied look painting his face, and pointed. Of course, Marcus boomed, his voice dripping with false modesty, I had my new junior, Leonard, run the numbers. He gestured dismissively. Well, he's learning. A bit slow on the uptake, but he gets the coffee, don't you, boy? The polite, sycophantic laughter that followed felt like 1,000 tiny needles. Leonard was completely humiliated, reduced from innovator to an intern, a coffee boy, a nothing. The applause at the end was deafening, a thunderous standing ovation for a thief. Leonard Fuller just sat there, hollowed out, as his colleagues filed past him. Some shot him quick, pitying glances, but most fearing the manager's wrath just avoided his eyes, complicit in their silence. The arrogant manager was already shaking hands with the board, accepting congratulations for work he didn't do. This shocking display of office drama was, for him, just another successful Tuesday. Leonard felt a quiet, cold fury building beneath the shame, a desire for something. Maybe justice, maybe just to disappear. But here's the kicker, the real gut punch of the whole situation. This wasn't a one-time thing. This presentation, this grand, public execution of his career, was just the opening act. The arrogant manager had made his point crystal clear: Leonard was his property, his stepping stone. This wasn't just about a stole idea, it was about establishing dominance and crushing any potential threat. And Leonard, this quiet junior, would have to return to that same office tomorrow. He would have to face the man who broke him, and pretend it was all perfectly okay. The real drama was only just beginning. So, back to the grind. Leonard Fuller's life as a junior wasn't just humble, it was a masterclass in invisibility. Head clock in, head down, navigating the cubicle maze to his tiny desk, which, what a surprise, was conveniently located right by the noisy copy machine. His days were a blur of menial tasks, enduring the constant, casual cruelty of the arrogant manager. Marcus Vance seemed to have a sixth sense for when Leonard was just about to grab a coffee, only to dump a life-or-death urgent and pointless task on him. It was a classic office power play, but with an extra dash of spite. The manager, meanwhile, was living it up, wasn't he? Head parade through the office, suit jacket slung over his shoulder, basking in the glow of his stolen victory. Head laugh, that loud, obnoxious bray of a laugh, booming across the open floor about his brilliant presentation. He was the golden boy, the rainmaker, all thanks to the stole idea from the very junior he despised. This drama was his daily entertainment, and watching Leonard squirm was, without a doubt, his favorite part. It was a shocking display of arrogance, day in and day out, with no end in sight.
Leonard just took it. What else could he do, right? You gotta pay the bills. Head sit there, quietly coding or running spreadsheets, while Marcus would stroll by and make some offhand, humiliating remark. Still working on that, Fuller? My grandma could do it faster. And what do you say to that? It was a relentless, soul-crushing campaign of bullying, designed to keep Leonard in his place. The rest of the office just pretended not to hear, which, let's be honest, is its own kind of betrayal. This was the grim reality of his office romance-free life. The contrast was stark, almost comical if it weren't so tragic. While the arrogant manager was out taking clients to fancy lunches all expensed, of course Leonard would be eating a sad, microwave meal at his desk. Head watched Marcus flaunt his success, a success built entirely on a lie, on a stole idea. This wasn't just a boss, it was a tormentor. And Leonard, with his quiet dignity, was the perfect target. He never fought back. He never complained. He just absorbed the abuse, hoping one day his work would speak for itself. A vain hope, it seemed. This daily humiliation was chipping away at him. You could see it in the slump of his shoulders, the way he avoided eye contact. He was becoming a ghost, a shell of the bright person who first walked in. The arrogant manager was systematically dismantling him, and nobody was lifting a finger. It was a kind of workplace drama that everyone sees, but everyone ignores. Leonard was truly alone, a junior adrift in a sea of sharks, with a target painted squarely on his back by the biggest shark of them all. And the manager's success? It just fueled his ego. He felt untouchable. He had the board's approval. He had the team's fear. And he had a personal punching bag in Leonard Fuller. He believed he was a king of this little castle, completely unaware of the plot twist fate had in store. He had no idea that his arrogant behavior was being noted, or that his victim was more than just a simple junior. The seeds of his own destruction were being sown, right there in his own arrogance. But then, a little flicker of light in that corporate darkness. Enter Ellie Hamilton. Ellie wasn't a manager. She wasn't a rising star, she was. Well, she was just Ellie. Kind, observant, and tragically overlooked mostly because she refused to play the toxic office games. She was the one who remembered birthdays, the one who actually watered the sad office plant. While everyone else saw Leonard as a punching bag, or worse, invisible, Ellie saw a person, and she was, quite literally, the only one who treated him with a shred of human kindness. It started small. You know, a simple good morning that actually sounded like she meant it. Then one day, Marcus had publicly berated Leonard for a typo in a memo Marcus himself had written. Leonard was, once again, deeply humiliated, his face red, just trying to shrink into his chair. Later that day, Ellie quietly rolled her chair over to his desk. She didn't say much about the incident, but she pushed half of her much nicer sandwich toward him. "You missed lunch," she said, a simple act that felt life-changing. It became their little ritual. When the arrogant manager was on a tirade, Ellie would discreetly defend Leonard. She wouldn't challenge Marcus hadn't that be career suicide, and they both knew it. Instead, Shed used strategic distractions. "Oh, Marcus, speaking of that report, did you get the email from the chairman's office about the new compliance rules?" It was subtle, brilliant, and it worked. She was his unexpected guardian angel, his one-woman defense team. A genuine love story of friendship was blooming amid the drama. Ellie Hamilton was, in her own quiet way, a rebel. She saw the injustice, the casual cruelty of the arrogant manager, and she simply refused to co-sign it. She saw the brilliance in Leonard that he was starting to forget himself. She had asked him about his real ideas, not the grunt work he was assigned. "That automation script you mentioned?" Shed whisper. "It's genius, Leonard." She was the only one who recognized his worth, and her kindness was the only thing keeping him from walking out the door for good. This, of course, didn't go unnoticed by the arrogant manager. He couldn't stand any alliance that wasn't his. He saw Ellie's kindness not as a virtue, but as a weakness, a strange act of defiance. Why was she siding with the junior, the nobody? It baffled him, and what baffled Marcus, angered him. He started watching them, his two least favorite people, whispering by the copy machine. He was starting to see this budding office romancer at least friendship as a personal affront. And for Leonard, Ellie's small acts of defiance were everything. She wasn't just sharing her lunch, she was sharing her strength. She was the one genuine person in a company full of fakes. He started to look forward to work, not for the job, but for those 5-minute conversations. He was a rich man in disguise, though he didn't know it himself yet, and he was seeing in Ellie Hamilton a kind of wealth that had nothing to do with money. He was seeing true love in its purest form, kindness, without an agenda. Naturally, the arrogant manager, Marcus, couldn't let this stand. This friendship, this quiet defiance. He saw Leonard Fuller not just as a junior be bullied, but as a genuine threat. Maybe Leonard had complained to Ellie. Maybe they were laughing at him. His paranoia, fueled by his own massive ego, went into overdrive. He decided it was time to cut the cancer out. He needed a permanent solution, a way to get rid of Leonard for good, but it had to look legitimate. He couldn't just fire him for nothing. So he devised a perfect trap, a career-ending, no-win-scenario project. He called Leonard into his glass office, that smug smile firmly in place. "Fuller," he said, tossing a thick binder onto his desk. "Big opportunity for you." It was a new quantum initiative, a vaporware project the chairman had vaguely mentioned once. Marcus demanded a full-scale working prototype, a complete market analysis, and a 10-year financial projection. The deadline? Friday. It was Tuesday. It was quite literally impossible. This was it, the classic sabotage. The arrogant manager was already drafting the email in his head despite my mentorship. Leonard just couldn't handle the pressure. It was a clean kill. Leonard, being the junior, had no standing to refuse. He looked at the binder, then at Marcus, and he knew this was the end of the line. The manager planned to humiliate him one last time, making him fail on a grand, undeniable scale, and then fire him for incompetence. The drama was reaching a new, sickening level. Leonard, bless his heart, just took the binder. He walked back to his desk in a daze, the weight of the impossible task crushing him. He was being set up to fail, and the whole office knew it. You could feel the whispers start, The pitying looks. Did you see what Marcus just gave the junior? It was a public execution in slow motion. This wasn't just a tough assignment. This was a career-ending project, a poison pill designed to end him. This was the manager's twisted form of justice. Ellie Hamilton watched the whole exchange from her desk, her stomach churning. She knew exactly what this was. She had seen Marcus pull similar, smaller-scale stunts before. But this was different. This was pure, unadulterated malice. She saw the look on Leonard's face, that mixture of despair and resignation. It was shocking to her that someone could be so openly cruel. She knew Leonard was brilliant, but this task, not even an entire senior team, could pull this off in 3 days. The manager, for his part, leaned back in his chair, feet up on his desk, already savoring his victory. He had just signed Leonard's corporate death warrant, had be rid of the annoying junior, and as a bonus, had get to sadly report to board how he tried to mentor the new talent. But, sigh, they just aren't made like they used to be. He was a snake, and he had just delivered his fatal bite, or so he thought. He severely underestimated the power of kindness and the brilliance of Ellie Hamilton. That evening, the office emptied out. The cleaning crew did their rounds. The lights dimmed to their overnight setting. Leonard Fuller was still at his desk, of course, drowning in a sea of impossible projections. The fluorescent hum his only companion. He was defeated, humiliated before had even failed. Then a soft footstep. He looked up, and there was Ellie Hamilton, holding 2 steaming cups of coffee and a bag of takeout. Figured you might need a co-pilot, she whispered, pulling up a chair. Leonard was stunned. Ellie, you don't have to. This is my funeral. She just shook her head, that determined glint in her eye. No one deserves this, she said, opening the binder. Marcus is a monster. But you know what? He's also lazy. He didn't actually read the source files. Ellie, recognizing the sabotage for what it was, had a plan. She wasn't just there to offer moral support. She was there to fight. This was her redemption for staying silent all those other times. And then a funny thing happened. As they worked, the impossible started to seem, well, possible. Ellie wasn't just kind, she was brilliant. Her mind was a steel trap, sharp, organized, and creative. She saw shortcuts Leonard missed. She found data streams no one else knew existed. She wasn't just helping, she was leading the charge. They worked through the night, fueled by cheap coffee and a shared sense of justice. The drama of the office faded, replaced by the quiet intensity of creation. This was a real office romance, not the cheesy kind, but the deep, profound connection of 2 minds clicking perfectly in sync. As they worked, they talked. Leonard, sensing her genuine kindness, finally opened up. He talked about his ideas, the ones the arrogant manager had either ignored or stolen. Ellie listened, and more than that, she understood. Leonard, she said, pausing at 3M, this isn't just a project. This is a masterpiece. She saw his genius. The part had been forced to hide, what the manager intended as an execution. Ellie Hamilton was turning into a showcase. Her integrity was on full display. She could have gone home, kept her head down, and saved herself. But she chose to stay, to risk her own career to help this junior who had been so relentlessly bullied. It was a selfless, life-changing act of defiance. This wasn't about the project. Anymore, it was about drawing a line in the sand. It was about standing up to a bully, together. As the sun started to peek over the city skyline, they looked at what they'd done. It was incredible. Not just complete, but flawless. It was revolutionary. They had not only met the impossible deadline, they had created something that could genuinely change the company. Ellie, with her quiet brilliance, and Leonard, with his stifled innovation, had done it. They were exhausted, but they were smiling. They had survived. And in doing so, they had given the arrogant manager the one thing he didn't want: a success. Leonard Fuller sat there, watching Ellie organize the final slides, and he felt something new. It was past 6 a.m. His eyes were gritty, his back ached, but he couldn't stop looking at her. He had been so focused on the drama, the bullying, the sheer injustice of his life, that he hadn't seen what was right in front of him. This woman, who had no reason to help him, who had every reason to stay safe, had just thrown him a lifeline, and she had done it with such grace and kindness. He was, to put it simply, falling for her. Hard. It wasn't just gratitude, though there was a ton of that. It was admiration, awe. Had seen her sharp intellect, her unwavering moral compass, her quiet courage. In the toxic wasteland of this office, Ellie Hamilton was the one genuine, real person. She was the only one who had seen his worth when he was just a failing junior. This wasn't just a crush, it felt like a life-changing realization. He was seeing, for the first time, what true love might actually look like. This was the ultimate plot twist for his heart. He came to this company with a secret identity, a rich man in disguise on a mission, but that mission was suddenly feeling secondary. All his life had been surrounded by people who wanted something from him, from his family, from the chairman. But Ellie, she wanted nothing. She gave. She shared her lunch. She shared her time. She shared her brilliance, all for a humiliated colleague. How could you not fall in love with a person like that? He realized that this whole experience, the bullying from the arrogant manager, the stole idea, all of it, it was worth it. It was worth it because it led him to her. It showed him who she really was. And in turn, it showed him who he wanted to be. He was deeply, profoundly moved by her selfless kindness. This wasn't a fleeting office romance fantasy. This felt like the real deal, the kind of connection that changes your entire orbit. It was a surprise to his own system. He wanted to tell her. God, he wanted to tell her everything. About who he really was, about his father, the chairman, about the secret identity. But how? Hey, Ellie. Thanks for the help. By the way, I'm not a poor junior. I'm actually the secret son of the CEO. Yeah, right. That would make him just as fake as everyone else. He had to see this through for her. He had to find a way to get justice for her, for them both. So he just said, Ellie, thank you. I couldn't have done this without you. She just smiled, tired but bright. We did it, Leonard. We hit him like a freight train. It was the best thing he had heard in months. He was in deep. This wasn't just a love story, it was the love story. And he knew, in that moment, that he would do anything to protect her. The arrogant manager had made a very, very powerful enemy. Later that day, after they'd emailed the finished project, the arrogant manager strutted out his office. He was furious. Had checked his email, seen the file, and his plan to fire the junior had just evaporated. But his tiny, reptilian brain processed this not as their success, but as his new opportunity. He saw the file, he saw its brilliance, and he decided this is mine. But first, he had another target. Had seen Ellie working with Leonard all night, and he decided to fix that. He cornered Ellie Hamilton by the coffee machine, blocking her exit with his expensive, arrogant frame. Ellie, he oozed. His voice is sickening. Fake friendly drawl. Working so hard. I saw you pulling that all-nighter with the new kid. He leaned in, and Ellie visibly recoiled. You're wasted, helping him. You're sharp. You should be on my team. He let the words hang, the implication as thick and dirty as the stale coffee. This was his version of an office romance, a transaction. He laid out the offer. It was a classic quid pro quo. He offered her a promotion, a senior analyst position, a fast track to management. The only price? Her loyalty. Ditch the junior, he said, not even bothering to use Leonard's name. He's dead weight. Stick with me, Ellie. I'm the one who can make things happen for you. He was offering her a seat at his table, a chance to join the winning side. All she had to do was betray Leonard, and by extension, herself. Now, here is a dilemma for you, and be honest what you have done. The promotion was real. The money was real. The temptation to finally be seen and rewarded, after being overlooked for so long, is powerful, isn't it? Ellie Hamilton stood there, the full force of the arrogant manager's manipulative drama bearing down on her. She had a choice. She could take the easy path, the one that led to a corner office, or she could hold on to the one thing she had left, her integrity. Ellie looked him dead in the eye, her expression unreadable for a second, and then she gave him a smile. It wasn't a kind one. Marcus, she said, her voice clear and cold, I think I'd rather be on a losing team with people I respect than on a winning team with you. Oof. The rejection was absolute. She didn't just say no, she called him out. She chose her integrity, her kindness, and her loyalty to Leonard over any advancement he could offer. She pushed past him, leaving him standing there, stunned and fuming. The audacity! He, Marcus Vance, had been rejected. For that? For a nobody junior? Oh, this was bad. This was more than a rejection. It was a declaration of war. He was humiliated, and a humiliated narcissist is a very dangerous animal. He now had 2 targets to destroy, not just one. The plot twist? Ellie's strength had just sealed her own fate. Or so he thought. Furious. That doesn't even begin to cover it. The arrogant manager was incandescent with rage, had been publicly rebuffed by Ellie, and had been outsmarted by the junior. His carefully crafted plan was in shambles. So he did what all petty tyrants do when they're cornered. He doubled down. He stormed back to his office, locked the door, and downloaded the Quantum Initiative project that Leonard and Ellie had nearly killed themselves to finish. He opened the file, his eyes gleaming. He spent the next hour meticulously stripping their names from the project. He deleted every metadata tag, every digital footprint. He replaced prepared by Leonard Fuller, Ellie Hamilton with authored by Marcus Vance. He even rehearsed the key talking points in front of his reflection, practicing how to sound like he was a genius that stayed up all night. It was a Stoll idea all over again, but this time it was bigger, more brazen. He was stealing their redemption, their one chance to prove their worth. He then called an emergency meeting with the board members, the same ones who had applauded him before. He walked in, all feigned humility and exhaustion. Gentlemen, he began, I know the deadline seemed impossible, but I was so inspired by our last meeting that, well, I pulled a few all-nighters myself. He plugged in his laptop and began. He presented their work Leonard's innovation, Ellie's brilliant analysis as his own. Every slide, every data point, every single word. Stolen. And the board, they ate it up. Again, they were blown away. Revolutionary, one of them declared. This is life-changing for the company. Marcus, the arrogant manager, just soaked it in, nodding gravely. It was nothing, he said, the lie tasting like honey, just doing my part for the team. He received a thunderous round of applause, praise being heaped upon him for the very work Head used as a weapon. The drama was almost farcical. He was a hero of the hour. They were talking about bonuses, a new title, maybe even a direct line to the chairman. He had taken their masterpiece, their joint act of defiance and brilliance, and turned it into his own personal golden ticket. This wasn't just theft, it was a complete erasure. He had effectively made Leonard and Ellie disappear from their own success story. It was a shocking act of betrayal, and he felt absolutely no remorse. As he walked out of that boardroom, pumped full of adrenaline and ego, he passed Leonard and Ellie's desks. They looked up, exhausted but hopeful, waiting for any acknowledgement of their work. The arrogant manager didn't even break his stride. He looked right through them, as if they were just part of the furniture. He had what he wanted. Now, all that was left was the cleanup. He had to get rid of the evidence. And in his mind, they were the evidence. The high from the presentation was potent, but the arrogant manager knew he had a loose end. 2, in fact. Leonard and Ellie. They knew the truth. They were a liability, a walking, talking reminder that he was a fraud. His rejection by Ellie and his hatred for the junior merged into one toxic, vengeful impulse. He couldn't just have them know. He stole the idea. He had to remove them from the equation entirely. He had to humiliate them so completely that no one would ever believe their word against his. His new plan was diabolical, a masterpiece of corporate evil. He was going to frame them. He needed something big, something unforgivable. He spent the night fabricating a truly shocking paper trail. He went into the company's client management system. He controlled and accessed a file of their biggest client, the one the chairman personally cared about. Then he lost it. He didn't just delete it, he corrupted the data, sabotaged the backups, and made it look like an inside job. But he erased the genius part as evil. He used Leonard's admin login, which he had access to, as his manager to perform the corrupting actions. Then, he created a fake email chain. He spoofed emails between Leonard and Ellie, using a man in the middle hack had learned ages ago. The emails proved they were disgruntled, that they felt the company owed them, and that they were planning to leak the client data to a competitor. It was a framed job, so perfect, it was almost artistic. He discovered this catastrophic breach first thing the next morning. He literally ran to the board, feigning panic and devastation. They did it! He cried, breathless. The Junior and Hamilton. I think they sabotaged us. He presented his fabricated evidence, the login records from Leonard's terminal, the fake emails discussing their plan, the lost client. It was an open and shut case. The drama was high, and he was a star performer, playing the part of the shocked, betrayed manager. The board was horrified. Losing a client like this wasn't just bad, it was company ending. They didn't question the evidence, why would they? It was digital, it was proof. Marcus, the hero from yesterday, was now the man who had uncovered this treason. He had their complete trust. What do you suggest, Marcus? One of them asked, his face pale. We have to send a message, Marcus said, his voice low and regretful. We have to make an example of them. For the good of the company. This was his revenge, all wrapped up in a bow of corporate necessity. He had successfully painted Leonard and Ellie as the villains. He had used their kindness for each other and twisted it into a conspiracy. He was about to get his justice, his own twisted, dark version of it. The AR Drogan manager was about to fire them, not just for failing, but for treason. He was going to destroy their careers, their reputations, and their lives, all in one clean, brutal stroke. The stage was set. The arrogant manager didn't just send an email. Oh no, that wasn't his style. This needed to be a spectacle. This was drama, and he was a director. He called an immediate, all-hands meeting in the middle of the open plan office. No boardroom, no privacy. He wanted everyone to see. People shuffled from their desks, confused, annoyed. Leonard and Ellie, who had just come in, looked at each other, a sick feeling of dread growing in their stomachs. What now? Marcus Van stood on a chair, a move so arrogant it was almost laughable, but no one was laughing. Attention, everyone, he boomed. The office fell silent. We have had a breach, a serious, malicious breach of trust. He let the words hang, scanning the crowd, his eyes landing with predatory precision on Leonard and Ellie. Our biggest client. Gone. Sabotaged. By two of our own. The surprise on his face was worthy of an Oscar. The shock in his voice was palpable. It pains me, he continued, clutching his chest to say this. But we have irrefutable proof. He pointed, a long, dramatic, accusing finger, first at the Junior, then at the woman who defended him, Leonard Fuller and Ellie Hamilton. The collective gasp from the office was sharp. It was shocking. It was unbelievable. Leonard and Ellie? Kind, quiet Ellie? They just stared, frozen in disbelief, as 100 pairs of eyes turned on them. They were humiliated for this. Betrayal. Marcus spat. This attempt to destroy what we have all worked so hard to build. You are both fired. Effective immediately. It was a death sentence. But he wasn't done. Security, he yelled. 2 large security guards, who had clearly been pre-briefed, emerged and moved straight toward them. Please escort Mr. Fuller and Ms. Hamilton from the building. They are not to touch anything. They were being treated like common criminals. This was the ultimate public humiliation. The entire office just watched, paralyzed. Some looked down, ashamed. Others looked on with a kind of sick fascination. This was the power of the arrogant manager on full display. He could erase you. He could turn you from a colleague into a pariah in 10 seconds flat. As the guards loomed over them, Ellie's eyes filled with tears, her face pale with shock. Leonard was just numb. This couldn't be happening. It was a nightmare. This was his revenge, and it was total. They were marched through the office, past the desks of people they'd shared coffee with, past the plant Ellie had watered, past the copy machine where Leonard had been bullied. They were walked out the main glass doors as the entire office watched, their faces pressed against the windows. The drama was complete. Marcus Van stood among his loyal employees, a look of somber duty on his face. He had won. He had gotten rid of his problems. He was untouchable. They stood on the pavement, the glass doors sliding shut behind them with a final, definitive hiss. The city noise, the traffic, the horns, it all felt muffled, distant. Ellie Hamilton just broke. She slumped down onto the steps of the building. Her Employee of the Month mug from 3 years ago still clutched in her hand, her cardboard box of shame at her feet. She was devastated. She put her face in her hands, and her shoulders began to shake. "It's over," she sobered, her voice small. "My career. Leonard, it's over." She was right in a way. In this industry, an accusation like that, losing a major client, sabotage, it was a black mark you could never, ever erase. The arrogant manager hadn't just fired them, had blacklisted them, had humiliated them so thoroughly that no one would touch them. Ellie, whose entire career was built on integrity and hard work, was now a corporate traitor. Her kindness, her brilliance, it all meant nothing. All she could see was a future of unanswered applications and interviews that ended the second they called her last employer. Leonard Fuller stood beside her, his own box of belongings feeling impossibly heavy. He watched her cry, and the numbness had felt inside began to curdle, to harden. It solidified from shocking despair into something else. Something hot, quiet, and terrifyingly cold all at once. It was guilt. Guilt that he had brought this on her. She had helped him. She had shown him kindness, and in return, he had dragged her down into his own personal drama. Her only crime was being his friend. And under that guilt, that's where the revenge was. A quiet, burning fury. He looked up at the towering glass building, up at the window where he knew the arrogant manager was probably watching, gloating. This was not justice. This was a mockery. This was the act of a coward and a thief. This was not just an injustice against him, it was an injustice against her, and that he would not let stand. This was no longer just about a stole idea. He knelt beside Ellie, his heart breaking for her. He put a hand on her shoulder, solid, firm. She looked up, her face a mess of tears and disbelief. He won, she whispered. That man, he won. Leonard looked her square in the eyes, his own gaze clear and intense for the first time in months. He was no longer the beaten-down junior. He was someone else. "No," he said, his voice a low growl. "This is not over." It wasn't a comfort. It was a promise. He reached into his pocket, his hand closing around his simple burner phone, the one perk his secret identity as a rich man in disguise allowed. Ellie was devastated, believing her life was ruined. Leonard, filled with his quiet fury and profound new purpose, his love story with this woman, knew exactly what he had to do. This wasn't the end. This was just the end of the beginning. The real plot twist was about to be activated. Leonard helped Ellie up, got her settled in a cab, and promised to call her. She looked at him, confused by his sudden, cold calm, but too exhausted to question it. The second the cab turned the corner, the quiet junior vanished. Leonard Fuller, the humiliated employee, stepped into a nearby alley, out of sight of the office security cameras. The drama was over. The war was about to begin. He pulled out that simple, old-school flip phone. It had one number, and one number only, on speed dial. He pressed one. It rang once, twice. A deep, powerful voice answered on the other end, not with a low, but with a curt report. There was no time wasted, no pleasantries. This was the voice of the chairman of the entire corporation, a man who commanded empires, a man who, as it happens, was also Leonard's father. The secret son had been deep undercover, and his mission was now complete. He had seen everything he needed to see. And boy, had he seen a lot. "Dad," Leonard said, and his voice was no longer that of junior. It was crisp, cold, and full of authority. "I've seen enough." There was a pause on the other end. Not of surprise, but of anticipation. The chairman had sent his heir, his secret son, into the trenches as a rich man in disguise to find the rot in his company. Had wanted Leonard to understand the business from the ground up, but also to find the real problems, the ones no auditor could ever spot. "The branch here," Leonard continued, Looking up at the glass tower, it's not just inefficient, it's toxic. It's run by a tyrant, a man named Marcus Vance. He quickly, efficiently, laid it all out the Stoll idea. The relentless bullying of employees, the culture fear, the harassment of Ellie Hamilton, and finally, the shocking frame job that had gotten them both fired. He wasn't just a victim, he was a witness, and he had been taking meticulous notes. The chairman listened, his silence growing heavier with each new revelation. The lost client was the final straw. That wasn't just drama, that was a direct threat to the family legacy. This arrogant manager, the chairman's voice rumbled, he didn't just fire you, he framed you for losing the Apex account. Leonard confirmed it. The audacity of the man, to use the chairman's pet client as a pawn in his petty game. He had no idea what had done. It's time, Leonard said, his voice firm. I'm done. I'm not going to let him destroy a good person like Ellie. I'm not going to let him rot this company from the inside out. There was a beat of silence. Then, the chairman's voice came back, now with a terrifying, smooth edge. I agree. The car will be there in 10. Your suit is in the trunk. It's time to come home, son. And it's time for some restructuring. We're calling an emergency meeting. Justice is coming. Back in the office, the arrogant manager was on top of the world. He was a hero, had saved the company from the traitors. He sauntered through the cubicles, a smug smirk plastered on his face, accepting the quiet, fearful congratulations from his staff. Just doing my job, Head say, with that false modesty that made everyone want to puke. He was already planning how He'd spend his new bonus, maybe which corner office He'd demand. He had no idea what was brewing. Then, at 3:00 p.m. on the day, an email blasted to the entire company. From the chairman, subject emergency, all hands on deck meeting. Now, the capital letters, the immediacy, that was not normal. The chairman never called meetings like this. The entire floor went from a low hum to a dead, panicked silence. This was big. This was, well, no one knew what it was, but it was bad. The drama was far from over, it was just changing acts. The arrogant manager, Marcus Vance, was the only one who smiled. This was it. This had to be it. The chairman himself was going to congratulate him. He was probably going to get his promotion right here in front of everyone. He'd handled the client issue. He'd exposed the saboteurs. This was his crowning achievement. He actually straightened his tie, smoothed his hair, and shot his cuffs, getting ready for his close-up. What a surprise this was going to be for him. He walked into the main boardroom, the one reserved for the biggest of bigwigs, with an insufferable swagger. He even winked at a few of the senior VPs, as if they were all in on some great joke. The room was packed, standing room only. The air was thick with tension and fear. Everyone was there, from the mailroom guys right up to the board, and they all looked terrified. Everyone, that is, except Marcus. He felt invincible. He was the man of the hour. He took a seat right at the front like he owned the place. He was practically vibrating with self-importance. He was imagining the applause, the accolades. He was thinking about how He'd graciously accept the promotion. He pictured Leonard and Ellie out on the street, humiliated and broken, and it made his smile even wider. He had played the game, and he had won. He was a king. He had no idea he was a lamb, casually walking into his own slaughterhouse. The doors at the front of the boardroom opened. A hush fell over the crowd. This was the moment. The arrogant manager leaned forward, his smile picture perfect, ready to greet his benefactor. He was ready for his redemption to be made public, for his hard work to finally pay off. He was about to get exactly what he deserved. The plot twist was coming, and it was going to be delicious. The silence in the boardroom was absolute, so thick you could cut it with a knife. You could hear a pin drop. The doors swung open, and in walked the chairman. He was an imposing figure, a man who radiated power without saying a word. He was a legend, the founder, the man no one ever saw. His face was like granite, unreadable. The arrogant manager, Marcus, practically shot out his seat, his face split in that sycophantic grin. Mr. Chairman, he started, it's an honor. But the chairman didn't even look at him. He just walked to the head of the table. And he held the door open. He held the door. For whom? The entire company held its breath. And then he walked in. He was wearing a bespoke, razor-sharp suit that probably cost more than Marcus' car. His hair was perfectly styled. His posture was confident, powerful. He looked familiar, terribly familiar. He walked in, followed by two very serious-looking lawyers, and... Wait, was that Ellie Hamilton? The arrogant manager's smile froze. It didn't fade, it froze on his face, a grotesque mask of shocking confusion. He squinted. Fuller? He whispered, his voice cracking. What? What the hell are you doing here? He looked at Ellie, who was standing beside the newcomer, looking terrified but resolute. This wasn't possible. This was his meeting. This was his promotion. This was his drama. And this was not in the script. It was Leonard Fuller. But it wasn't. This wasn't the humiliated junior in the ill-fitting suit. This was a man who looked like he belonged there, at the head of the table. This was a rich man in disguise, and the disguise was gone. Leonard looked around the room, his eyes calm, and then they landed on Marcus. He didn't look angry. He didn't look vengeful. He looked disappointed, and that was so much worse. The manager's face, his arrogant, smug, confident face, just crumbled. It turned to ash. That's the only way to describe it. The blood drained from it so fast. He looked like a ghost. He looked from Leonard to the chairman, back to Leonard, and the math, the impossible, terrifying math, started adding up in his head. The chairman's last name was Fuller, Leonard Fuller. Oh God, it wasn't a surprise. It was an atom bomb. The secret identity was out. The secret son was home. And this was not a promotion. This was a trial. Leonard? Marcus squeaked, his voice a pathetic, strangled sound. Leonard just held his gaze, his expression unblinking. That's Mr. Fuller to you, Marcus, Leonard said, his voice quiet, but echoing in the dead silence of the room. The plot twist had landed, and had landed right on the arrogant manager's neck. The hunter had just realized he was, and always had been, the prey. Leonard Fuller, Mr. Fuller walked to the stage, moving with an easy confidence that felt alien to everyone who knew him as a junior. He tapped the microphone. Hello, everyone, he said, his voice now amplified, filling the room. For the past 6 months, most of you have known me as Leonard, the intern. My apologies for the deception. He glanced at his father, the chairman, who just nodded. I'm Leonard Fuller. My father and I, we believe you can't lead a company unless you've walked in its shoes. Even the humblest ones. The arrogant manager was visibly shaking now, sweat pouring down his face, his gray, ashen color a shocking contrast to his expensive suit. Now, Leonard, he sputtered, trying to stand. Let's not be hasty. There's been a misunderstanding. Leonard just raised a single hand, and Marcus fell silent, as if physically struck. No, Marcus, Leonard said, his voice still calm. There has been no misunderstanding. There has been clarity. I was sent here to find the strengths of this branch. Instead, I found rot. Leonard's eyes scanned the crowd. I found a culture of fear, where good ideas are stolen and good people are. Humiliated, his gaze locked onto Marcus. I saw an arrogant manager steal an idea from a junior for a major presentation. A collective gasp. But Leonard continued, I'm not a he said kind of person. I prefer proof. He clicked a button on the remote. The giant screen behind him lit up, and it all played. Security footage. Time-stamped. Crystal clear. Footage of Marcus cornering Leonard, berating him. Footage of Marcus at his desk at 2 a.m., copying Leonard's presentation file. Footage audio included off Marcus harassing Ellie Hamilton by the coffee machine, offering her a promotion to be on his team, and her cold, clear rejection. And then, the kicker, the piece de resistance. The screen switched to a desktop recording. It was Marcus' desktop. It showed him live, accessing the client database, using Leonard's credentials. It showed him corrupting the files. It showed him fabricating the email chain to frame Leonard and Ellie. It was undeniable. The arrogant manager had, in his arrogance, been so sloppy. He didn't realize the secret son of the chairman had admin access to everything. He had been recording his own crimes. Leonard clicked the remote. The screen went black. The silence was deafening. "I believe," Leonard said, "that covers the Stoll idea, the harassment, and the client issue." He looked at the two security guards now standing behind a paralyzed Marcus. This wasn't just a firing offense. This was a crime. The plot twist was complete. The drama had reached its shocking climax. This was justice, served cold. The arrogant manager, Marcus Vance, didn't even put up a fight. He just deflated. The security guards, the real ones this time, gently took his arms. "Marcus," Leonard said, "you're fired." As the guard began to lead him out, two uniformed police officers entered the boardroom. Leonard nodded to them. "And gentlemen, he is trespassing." "Oh, and you want to talk to him about grand larceny, wire fraud, and conspiracy." Marcus was arrested right there in front of everyone he had bullied, his humiliation absolute and final. This was redemption for the entire office. As he was led away, the chairman finally stood. "As you've all gathered, this has been a life-changing transition. My son, Leonard Fuller, has been my eyes and ears, and as of today, he is your new CEO." The room exploded, not in applause, but in shocking, stunned silence, followed by a slow, hesitant wave of clapping. Leonard, the junior, was now the CEO. The secret identity of the rich man in disguise was now his public face. Leonard stepped forward, his first act as CEO. "Thank you, Dad." He then turned to the crowd, his eyes finding Ellie Hamilton, who was standing near the back, looking completely overwhelmed. "My first act," he said, his voice softening, "is to correct a grave injustice." He walked over to her, taking her hand gently. "This company's greatest assets aren't its client lists or its algorithms. It's its people. People with integrity. People with courage. People with kindness." He led her to the front of the room. "Ellie Hamilton is, without a doubt, the most brilliant, brave, and decent person I have ever met." He turned to her, his gaze unwavering, and the entire company saw it. This wasn't just an office romance. This was something. "Ellie," he said, for her and the entire company to hear, "I am promoting you to Vice President of Operations, effective immediately, because your values, those are the values this company will be built on from now on." Ellie just stared, tears streaming down her face, this time for a very different reason. It was a surprise, a shock, a redemption all in one. The office finally erupted in real, thunderous applause. They weren't just clapping for the new CEO. They were clapping for her. They were clapping for justice. This was the ultimate plot twist. The humiliated had become the leaders. The kindness had won. Later, after the chaos, after the congratulations, Leonard found Ellie by the window. "So, VP," he said, smiling. She laughed, still crying a little. "So, CEO," she replied. He took a deep breath, the CEO mask fading, replaced by the junior she had been kind to. "Ellie," he said, "I know this is a lot, but my first act, as just Leonard, is to ask if you'd maybe like to get some dinner." She looked at him. The man had turned her life upside down twice in one day. And her smile. It was the start of a brand new love story. True love, found in the unlikeliest of places. In the end, it was never just about the Stoll idea, was it? It was about integrity versus arrogance. The arrogant manager had temporary power, but he forgot that kindness and justice have a way of settling the score. Leonard's revenge wasn't just payback, it was redemption for everyone who had ever felt small. If you too believe that kindness is a superpower and that your integrity is your most valuable asset, then you have found your place. Subscribe and join our community that celebrates real strength. Now, let's do the trifecta like this video as a signal that you believe justice was finally served. Comment below with the exact moment you knew the manager was finished. Was it the plot twist in the boardroom? And share this story with one friend who needs to be reminded that good people do win. And while you wait for the next story, know that our channel is a treasure chest of emotional journeys just like this one. Explore our older videos and discover the other shocking stories you've missed. And to ensure you don't miss any of the incredible stories we're going to tell next, you must activate that notification bell to stay updated with the channel's updates. You won't want to be left out of the next wave of emotions.